What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host here, Haize. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. Now, on today's episode, we'll talk about DeMar DeRozan's new 4-year deal with Nike to be the face of Kobe's line of products. We'll also talk about Herbo. I got thoughts. Headlining the first annual Chicago Bulls Summer Festival. And lastly, we'll talk about what it means that Caruso, Dalen Terry, Coby White, and Ayo Coby are joining Zach and DeMar down in LA for group workouts. And we also got another 2022-23 season prediction, this time for Andre Drummond. We'll get into all that and more on today's Chicago Bulls Central.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans, we're jumping right into it. Today, DeMar DeRozan signed a new 4-year deal with Nike to be the face of Kobe's line. So and the thing is this a huge deal? For the basketball? No, it's not. But for DeMar DeRozan, knowing how the reverence he has for Kobe Bryant, right? The respect that he has, how much and homage he pays to Kobe Bryant every day, how much of his own personal workouts and how much even the workouts that he did with Patrick Williams this summer are all things that he learned and that Kobe Bryant did with him. Keeping that going, the legacy of Kobe Bryant and what Kobe has meant to a lot of players in the NBA, but specifically with DeMar DeRozan, I know what that means to him. So him being the face of that Kobe line of products, I know what that means for DeMar DeRozan. And, he earns it. You look at DeMar DeRozan, who was a big player on those Toronto teams that kept going to Eastern Conference Finals, could not get past LeBron. But outside of that, how he kind of, in the national media sense, kind of went away when he went to San Antonio. He improved his game, worked on his game. At that point of his career, he said he added things to his game. He gets back to a big market in Chicago and a team that's steadily improving, and he starts getting, more recognition in the national media, gets talked about, more interviews, more coverage of him, and it's all earned and very well due. You can do a lot worse than having DeMar DeRozan as an advocate for any type of brand, any type of line, and the fact that he's doing that while playing for the Chicago Bulls, signing a new deal like this, on the basketball court, is that going to change a bunch of things? No, it's not going to change a bunch of things, but it's well-deserved for a player that's just, and we talked about this after his interview on Draymond Green's show, it's like just having him be a member of this team and to be a representative of the Chicago Bulls while doing things like this, it just feels good and it's well-deserved. He gets to carry on the legacy of a player that meant so much to so many people and him personally as well, and had such a big part in DeMar's work ethic and things that we see about him like that, to now continue to be able to be the face of that Kobe line for the next 4 years is huge for him. And for me, I feel good because I know what that probably means to him to be able to do that. But let me know what you guys think about that down below. Now we have two players on the Chicago Bulls that do have shoe deals. Unfortunately, Zach LaVine is with New Balance. I don't know who's wearing New Balances. I have no idea. But DeMar DeRozan with Nike being the face of that Kobe line. Let me know what you guys think about it down below. Now, this next one isn't really basketball news. Now, this is something that I will be attending. I hope to see you guys at. And that's the first annual Chicago Bulls Summer Festival. And Herbo's headlining that. Now, I know Herbo has a big fan base. I don't personally care for Herbo's music. To me, every time he raps, it sounds like somebody who's speaking English for the first time in their lives. But nonetheless, that's my thing. But to have somebody who, to headline this thing, the first year that it's being an artist that is a popular artist, this Chicago Bulls Summer Festival, I think it's going to be bigger than what a lot of people were initially thinking. I know when I heard about it, they're going to have the 3-on-3 tournament and things like that, food trucks down there and everything. I was like, this is just going to be a fun time, and it's a good reason to go to Chicago, which I love being in Chicago. So it's I looked at it as that, but this is really turning into something that you can see being, maybe something that you have to mark your calendars for every year. So, shout out to Chicago Bulls for getting this summer festival thing going, for starting that, having that idea while the interest in the team is at an all-time high as far as the national media. But, it is what it is there. Let me know what you guys think down below on Herbo headlining the first annual Chicago Bulls Summer Festival. Let's go ahead and move in. We got basketball things to talk about. So it's now official. Even Dalen Terry posted it. You got to love the young people. Dalen Terry posting it to his Instagram story. But Caruso, Coby White, Dalen Terry, and Ayo Coby all joining Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan in LA for group workouts. Don't know if it's those 4 a.m., 5 a.m. workouts that Patrick Williams went through the first time he went down there with DeMar, but this is good for team chemistry. Acme, or AK and Marks Eversley, let's talk about both of them, betting on continuity for this offseason and what that was going to do for the Chicago Bulls team. Part of continuity is chemistry. So the fact that they are betting on that chemistry and you're having things like this is what builds chemistry. This is, last season with the Chicago Bulls, you had everybody come to the United Center pretty much 2 weeks ahead of training camp opening for team workouts. Now, it couldn't be organized just because of, NBA rules, but down there, and this keeps that theme going on. The chemistry of this team is what's going to help them perform better than the sum of their parts. And I know you have some people in Bulls Nation and Bulls fans saying, well, why isn't Nikola Vucevic down there? Listen, Vuce is playing in EuroLeague, I believe, this summer, as well as Marko Simonovic. But even with that being said, we got everything. I love Bulls Nation. I love it with all my heart. Like, I've been a member of this community for literally my whole entire life. But when you look at it, like, you got to stop looking at things just to tear things down with the Nikola Vucevic. Let's just talk about the positive, right? Everybody wants to shit on Vooch, and I've said it before. I've been a staunch defender on the fact that Vooch is not as bad as what people are making him out to be. It's not. He's got to stop making Vooch the scapegoat on everything. But this is not the topic to talk about that on. This is all positive. This is nothing but good things to continue to build that chemistry, especially when you look at young players like Dalen Terry to be down there amongst players like Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, being able to, hopefully they're taking them under their wing, which I'm sure DeMar is, and learning that, getting the camaraderie going, getting that chemistry going. P. Will, Ayo Dosunmu, I've talked about it before. These are players that we want to see take leaps or at least big steps up next season to help the team improve, especially when you look at the fact that they did bet on continuity rather than going after a big name. So these type of things are going to help this team have more chemistry, even heading into training camp, start the season off with better chemistry as well. I know Lonzo is also in LA, but I don't know if he's going to be part of these group workouts as he continues his rehab, things like that. But it's nothing but good things and good energy to have around this team. You want this type of thing when you're going into training camp, before training camp. You want those type of things. You want this. This is what takes teams from being good, solid, scrappy teams to being even better than that. When they have this type of chemistry, when they have this type of camaraderie, when they're working out together like this, you're going to see them come in, start the preseason off probably better than what some people are doing as well. All positives. And I, for one, am very appreciative. And I think big things are going to come to this. I think this is going to pay bigger dividends than what people are thinking, especially for a rookie like Dalen Terry. We've all talked about it. I've even said it yesterday when I did my season prediction for him. The minutes for Dalen Terry is going to be questionable what type of minutes he starts the season off with, but him coming in ready to go, coming with that chip on the shoulder, that edge, that energy, all of that could get him on the court very early, and having this type of chemistry with these players, working that out is going to be Ayo Dosunmu. If he's not in the starting lineup because of Lonzo Ball, we'll see what happens with that, but Ayo Dosunmu, Caruso, and Dalen Terry could all be very big pieces off the Chicago Bulls bench, and them working that chemistry out could be huge for this team. And I, for one, am appreciative, and I like what I'm hearing from having these workouts down in LA. Let me know what you guys think about this down below. Hopefully they also do start and all report or go down and meet up at the United Center. I think it's still the United Center, it's not the Berto. And really do and have workouts before then as well to keep that chemistry going. That's what we need to bet on, especially when you look at things like, so the Vegas odds right now for the Chicago Bulls win total, I think is like at 42.5 wins. And then DraftKings has us like 43.5 wins as well, which is all less wins that we had last season. Last season as well, I think they predicted us to have like maybe 38, 39 wins. So as we're continuing to improve there, it kind of is what it is. And we're going to see this team do better than what they think. And I can't wait till we continue to surprise people like we shocked people at the beginning of last season. But hopefully this season we maintain that and we don't fall off after the All-Star break as well. So let me know what you guys think about all that down below. Let's get into the last topic for today. And this one is a season prediction, the 2022-23 season prediction for Andre Drummond. Now, again, this is a player that is kind of hard to predict and look at because we don't necessarily know. Well, we know his role. He's going to be the backup center on this team. He's going to be getting all of his minutes are going to come at the backup center for him. But when you're looking at it is what type of player is Andre Drummond going to be for the Chicago Bulls? The one thing that I look at, right, that I'm going to kind of focus on here in talking about him is his defense. But first, before we get into that, we do have to talk about Andre Drummond's season last season. 7.9 points. 9.3 rebounds, 1.8 assists, almost 2 assists, 21.04 PER. That made him have the 25th best player efficiency rating in the NBA. That is not anything to take lightly. That means that and the reason why I like the efficiency numbers is because that's not dictated by starts or anything. It's dictated by how efficient you are when you're on the floor, no matter what that role is. We saw him play a very different role in Philly than when he played in Brooklyn as well. But even with that, for Philly last season, he averaged 6.1 points per game, 8.8 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, right under a block per game, and 1.1 steals per game for Andre Drummond in Philly. In Brooklyn last season, which he played 24 games for Brooklyn, started all 24 of those games. He only started 12 games for Philly, by the way, which makes sense. Joel Embiid's there. But for Brooklyn last season, starting 24 games, in those 24 games, he averaged 11.8 points per game, 10.3 rebounds per game, 1.4 assists per game, 1 block per game, right at a steal per game for Andre Drummond in his season last year. So for the 2 different teams he played, that's what he averaged. He had a PER, like I said, of 21.04, which is huge. That's major. He's only had 2 seasons in which he's had under a 20 PER. The 21-22 season, half of that season, he had a 19.38. Now that was for Philly. So he had a 19.38 player efficiency rating for Philly. The season before that, 2021, he had a 17.93 player efficiency rating, which says he's kind of more efficient when he's starting than coming off the bench, but still very high PER ratings across the board for him. Andre Drummond has an amazing, let me be clear here. I've talked about it very heavily. You want to be as close to 100 as possible for the defensive efficiency rating. His defensive rating is 100.7 for his career. 100.7 for his career. Last season, he had 102.4 defensive rating. Again, the thing that Andre Drummond is going to be able to provide for the Chicago Bulls right away is elite defense. Now, if he can stay healthy, elite defense. Again, this is not just good defense. It's not just solid defense. This is elite defense by almost every measure of statistics you can give defensively. And that's going to be the key for Andre Drummond on the Chicago Bulls. It's what he provides defensively for the Chicago Bulls. I've talked about it earlier in the show. Everybody, or people who do crap on Vooch, specifically look at his defense. You're now having a player that can come in and be the defensive side of the coin for Vooch's offense. Vooch still needs to be better offensively. Let me be clear there. But you're bringing in a player off the bench who is an elite defender still at the, and again, he's only 28 years old. Everybody acts like Andre Drummond's this elder statesman because he has been in the NBA a long time. But again, 28 years old, you're getting an elite defender to come off the bench. And again, I know people focus on the shot blocking because they talked about rim protection. Another form of rim protection is keeping your man from being able to even get to the rim. Andre Drummond can provide that for the Chicago Bulls. The rebounding as well. Elite rebounder over the course of his career. Rebounding, defensive intensity, steals as well, and he's a better passer than what people are giving him credit for. Again, I'm not ready to say that Andre Drummond's going to be amazing for the Chicago Bulls, but looking at and when we're talking about predictions, you can predict him to be a very solid, the best backup center that the Chicago Bulls have had in the last handful of years, right? Especially better than anything we had last season. Andre Drummond is going to provide that 100% for the Chicago Bulls next season. And don't sleep on, as much as I'm talking about defense, don't sleep on the ability of Andre Drummond facing off rebounds, especially if he gets out in transition and has a player like Lonzo Ball who he can build some pick and roll chemistry with, or even with pick and roll chemistry with Alex Caruso or Ayo Dosunmu. Goran Dragic we'll see with, who he's played with before. But with that being said, he can also get you maybe double digits off the bench depending on the amount of minutes. Now, I think for Andre Drummond to get double digits off the bench, and that would be right at 10 points. I'm not saying 12, 15, anything that, right at close to 10 points per game. I think he would have to play about 20, 22 minutes per game. Does he get that considering the minutes that Nikola Vucevic, who Vooch played the most minutes in his career last season? So maybe you drop him down some with that. Andre Drummond can get you a double-double. And if for any reason Vooch does go down, or we do have to have Vooch out of the lineup for any starting period, knock on wood, we don't want to see that, then you're looking at a player who can come off the bench and give you a double-double. Andre Drummond can still give you that today. And so looking at that is what I'm expecting from Andre Drummond, is for that defense. The defensive intensity is the first thing. The scoring, all that, let that come when it comes in the flow of the offense. but the defense that Andre Drummond can provide this team, I think it's going to make him better than what a lot of people are giving him credit for. Yes, his numbers at protection of the rim and on pick and roll did drop some last season. So let me be clear on that. They did drop from his career averages, and hopefully that's not a trend. Hopefully that was a byproduct of the team that he was on and not a trend for him specifically. But even if that does become what he is now, he still provides enough things that he can be a great backup center for the Chicago Bulls. So I'm looking at him to be able to come in and give those things for the team next season. Let me know down below, what are some of your predictions for Andre Drummond heading into the 22-23 season? And do you think that he's going to be potentially a double-double player off the bench for the Chicago Bulls? But that is it for me for today. Thank you for being the best part of Chicago Bulls Central. Make sure you're following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, you can send us a text and our voicemail, 773-270-2799. Like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls, see red, live red. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.